Well, hey friends, coming to you live from Myakka State Park. I'm laughing because at the moment I'm alive, but this is the most alligator-infested body of water in all of North America. One just jumped in the water just a few minutes ago, but he was on that side of the creek. And I think we're still okay here. And so if you see one coming, let me know, because they say they're more afraid of us than we are of them. Well, we're going to find out. But anyways, listen, I just want to make a quick video to share something with you that's very important for sales. Have you noticed that when you've made a proposal, an offer to somebody to buy whatever it is you're selling, whatever your business is about, that sometimes, maybe a lot of the times, they're not that motivated to make the purchase, right? In other words, they haven't found the motivation to get out their checkbook, their credit card, or whatever it is, and commit to you. I mean, when it gets right down to it, if they're motivated, they're going to do it. Now, sometimes people use money as an excuse. Like, I can sell my training program for some of it, depends which one you get, for $5,000. And some people will say, well, I don't have $5,000 to invest in a training program, and I suggest you don't spend a nickel investing in a training program. You need to spend your money investing in your mind, but that's not what I'm here to talk about right now, okay? The $5,000, be it 5 or 50, doesn't matter. If I was saying that with the purchase of my training program, you also get my house free and clear, gated community, nice home in Florida, I'd thrown that in just for the first 10 people, or the first person, whatever, to do this, right? All of a sudden, the people that said, I don't have $5,000, were going to say, I'll get that $5,000. Because then they found the motive or the motivation to do that. So let's translate that into reality for sales. If you want to succeed in sales, you need to help people find a motive. That's what motivation is. Action as a result of a motive or a desire. I now have a motive to take action. That's what motivation is. So how do you do that? What most people do in business and sales is they say, let me tell you why you should do this. And they try to inspire or motivate people with their stories, with their logic, with their rationale, all those things which have their place. But they're going about it backwards. Understand something. There are two primary motivations. Some people say three, but to me there's two real big ones. That's either the avoidance of pain or the acquisition of gain. I'm making some gain. Like, for example, I'm happy to be here right now, but if a big old alligator, and there are big ones in here, comes sauntering out, I'm going to find a motivation to move my camera. Okay? I'm not going to say, hey, I was here first. I'm just going to move. Now, so you think about this, motivation. It's either gain or pain. That's it. What people do, and this is a mistake, is they try to motivate a prospect to take action with logic or even with emotion, without first doing the most important thing, which is developing some kind of context for relationship, without asking questions, without getting inside the head and the heart and the mind of the person they're talking to. See, people want connection. And you want connection. We want people to feel connected to us, and they want the purpose of connection is this. So, like, for example, I want to be understood and valued, right? And I also want to understand you and value you. So when it comes to motivation, how do you do that? It's through questions. You have a conversation. How novel. You talk with them. And it's not what we've been traditionally taught, which is see if you can set up an appointment to tell them what we do. No. See if you can find out an appointment to find out what matters to them and why it matters and how long has it mattered and what have they tried to deal with the thing that matters. So, for example, I've found and observed, and I think it's a truism, that people are more motivated to avoid pain than they are to make a gain. People are more risk averse, so they want to avoid pain. So what I'm going to do in sales, for example, is I'm going to find out what their pain is. What's going on in your world? How's your business been going? So I'll do it with you right now as a bit of a role play, if you will. Of course, I don't know what business you're in, and maybe you're employed, and maybe a lot of different things, but I'm going to say, basically, how's it going? And typically, people are going to, you know what they're going to say? Generally speaking, they're going to say, oh, it's going great, right? It's just like when you meet a stranger on the street. You say, good morning, how you doing? Or somebody at work, how you doing? What do they say? Great, I'm doing good, thanks. Most of the time, they're lying, right? That's just what we do. We tend to say, I'm doing great, because we know we don't really have the time for that conversation. They don't have the time, we don't have the time. That was never really the intent. Okay? Listen to those birds. Hello, birds. I love them. I love it. I love it. I was already talking about you guys earlier in my 4th podcast. Yeah, you heard me? Okay. Anyways, sorry, I get distracted by beautiful things like birds and nature and all the stuff that God made. Now, so I need to find out what the pain is. And so I'm going to do that through a conversation. So how's it going? Well, it's going fine. Well, tell me, what do you mean by that? Like, how do you define that? And where are you now compared to where you thought you'd be this time? Like 5 years ago and then today, like, are you where you thought you'd be? Maybe you are. And if so, how'd you get here? And I'm going to ask questions because I want to find out genuinely if there are any pain points and where they are, what the cause of those pain points are, what the effect of those pain points are, and what we can do about it. What's the implication? What are the implications? So I'm looking for cause, effect, implications, and then what can be done about it. And that's all done through a dialogue, through having some level of connection, conversation. Because that opens up opportunities. And opportunities create the setting for you to make a sale, for you to do what you need to do with them, right? Like, if I'm talking to you, and I say, how's it going? You're going to say, it's going good. Most likely, unless you're just in a really bad situation, right? You're going to say it's going good. But if we were to sit down and have coffee, and you realize that I'm actually interested to know how you're doing, you might tell me, well, you know what? I've had high turnover in my sales team, and I don't know why. Or I give them good leads, but they're not closing any sales. Or, you have a variety of different reasons, and I would say, well, what do you think that's from? What's the effect of them not having a high close rate? How's that affecting your business? Well, we're still doing good, but what would happen if you were to increase or improve that closing rate? How would that affect everything? Well, that would make a big difference. Take the stress off of payroll or whatever it is, right? And then once that is understood, then we can say, well, you know what? Would you be interested in knowing how we can help solve that problem? Well, now, yeah, because now you've developed some kind of context, some kind of connection where there's a free flow of dialogue, of questions, answers, and so forth. And so that's how it's done. Same thing is done with gain. It's like, what are you trying to accomplish? Why does that matter? How long have you been trying to do that? What success have you had so far? What has worked? What hasn't worked? This is a conversation, and we have forgotten that in the world of sales. It's not, we're taught and conditioned. It's all about, slam, bam, thank you, ma'am kind of stuff. That's not right. That's not the way to do it. I've actually had people try to give me $10,000 or $20,000 to be in one of my coaching programs and said, you know what? We've had enough of a dialogue that I don't think this is a fit, and turn it down. I'm not trying to bring everybody in the universe to what I do. And neither should you, because it's not right for everybody to do any one thing, except come to Jesus. That's always right. That's always a good thing. So, understand this. People need to find a motive to buy what you have. And it's not for you to tell them the motive. It's for you to encourage them to tell you their motive. What is their why? You say, one of my favorite questions is, I say to people, I keep looking to make sure there's nothing coming my way, because sometimes I do, but I will say, in a question, like, just so I'm not assuming anything, would you mind telling me why you said time was the most important thing, or money was the most important thing, or increase was the most important thing, or whatever the topic was? I'm going to ask them why, so I'm not assuming anything, and you'd be surprised how often the answers that you're expecting are not quite what you get. But it doesn't matter. But whatever you get from them, now you can say that back to your prospect. So if I understand you correctly, the biggest thing you're looking for is an increase in this, or weight loss. And the reason why that matters to you is you had a health scare, and that made your wife very nervous, and caused a lot of problems in the household, like a lot of anxiety, and you want to remove that from them. Is that right? Yeah. So you can now put it back to them, and the reason why that's important is because maybe your wife lost her father at an early age because he didn't take care of himself, and she doesn't want to see that happen to you. Isn't that what you said? Do I understand you correctly? And it's that kind of thing. And so I'm going to tell you, if you want to give people a motivation to act with what you have, assuming that what you have actually solves the problem, give them a motive, and the way you give them a motive is to find out what their motive is, what their motivation is, what's important, and why it matters. Do that, and then present, and you'll do extremely well in sales. You'll end the problem of, they're just not motivated. I couldn't motivate them. You're not supposed to motivate them. They're going to motivate themselves. All you have to do is uncork it. All you do is ask the questions that uncork and discover the motivation that's already there, if in fact it exists. There may not be a motive to buy, a new car. They may have bought one a month ago. Who knows? But the point is, if there's a motivation there to be had, it's in there. Your job is simply to uncork it, not to spray paint them with what you think the motive should be. Very important. All right. That's a freebie. Just want to throw it out there. God bless you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Share, like, do all the good stuff that people do on social media. Much appreciated. God bless.